In this video, I will be showing you how to applique this heart. The heart has been back basted. That is, on the wrong side of our fabric, we have traced our pattern. We have used the quick prep stitch to baste directly on the pencil line of the bottom heart, which is our first patch. This heart slides underneath the other patch or the other heart. On the front, we can see our quick prep stitch has produced a line that is almost continuous, and that will be our turn under line. Up here with our larger basting stitches, we know immediately that this section will not be turned under. Instead, it slides underneath another patch. We'll begin by cutting out our patch first. I'm going to start up here beside the spot that slides underneath the other. I am going to cut this seam allowance at about 1/4 inch. This will be sliding underneath the other heart. Now I'm going to turn, and I'm ready to start trimming the edge that will be turned under. The edges that will be turned under, I like to do at about 1/8 inch, not much more. I will try to keep it as even as possible. So I'm going to come right in here and very carefully, slowly eyeball it. It's not that hard. Actually, if it isn't perfect, you're not going to know the difference. It's going to be turned under. However, being a perfectionist, I like it to look as smooth as I can. Okay, now for my particular method of applique, I leave extra fabric at points. So while I'm not going to show you how to do that point in this video, I am going to leave some extra fabric there, and then I'm going to trim up the other side at about 1/8, maybe just a little bit more than 1/8 inch, but not as much as the 1/4 inch that I used on the section that slides underneath the top heart. Okay, we're just about have this clipped and cut out, and we'll be ready to begin our applique. There we go. Well, wouldn't you know it, I didn't have my camera on when I started this video, so I'm going to just tell you what I did. In the area that slides underneath, I've come in and put some basting stitches in using my applique thread. I have done this so that when we place the next heart on the top, it will not bunch up the heart that's underneath. It's going to lay nice and flat and smooth. I then turned my work to the area that is going to be turned under. I clipped every other stitch for about 3 stitches, or 6 stitches actually. Leave a stitch, clip a stitch, leave a stitch, clip a stitch, and so on. I then took my cuticle stick and very gently turned that edge under. This is the beauty of back basting. You can place that turned under stitch directly on the edge. You know you are in exactly the right spot. Look at it. Be sure you have a nice smooth curve. And if you're happy with it, go ahead and take out the basting stitch. I'm then going to take my applique thread and come out the fold that I just turned under. Using the applique stitch, I begin my applique. I am going to go just slightly underneath where the thread came out. I am going to push forward an appropriate size distance, no more than 1/8 inch, and even 1/8 inch seems like kind of a lot to me, but in some projects with very, very small patches, you're not going to push forward very far. Come out the fold and pull it up. Your first applique stitch is in. As you need to, you continue to very, very gently lift the basting stitch that's still in the fabric. Lift it up so that you can turn under the edge. Before you remove those stitches, look at it very carefully. Be sure you have a nice smooth edge. Remember, applique is done before you put in that stitch. Controlling the edge and having a very smooth edge is what it's all about when doing needle turn applique. I guarantee you, if that edge doesn't look right now, putting in some stitches will not correct it. You need to be sure it is exactly the way you want it. When you're happy with it, finger press it. Finger pressing tells the fabric, tells the seam allowance where you want it to be. Finger press it, remove your basting stitches, and proceed to do your applique. If it bunches out, use the point of your needle to do any fine tuning. When you're happy with it, repeat the applique stitch slightly underneath the applique fabric where your previous thread has come out. Put the point of your needle, slide it forward, coming out the edge of the fold, right in the fold itself. Pull it up for your stitch. Do it again. And you'll notice the value of doing black thread for this video. You can see where my threads are and what they're doing. Actually, I would encourage you to do the same. Use black thread to practice your applique stitch. It tells you exactly what you're doing. After you put in about 3 or 4 stitches, stop and pull them up by grabbing your thread and tugging gently on it. Well, there you have it. Let's put in a few more stitches. This is the applique stitch. We go slightly underneath the edge, push forward and come out the fold. Slightly underneath, push forward and come out the fold. Slightly underneath, push forward and come out the fold. Okay, after about 3-4 stitches, stop, pull them up, tug on them, and as you can see, even using black thread, our applique stitches are almost invisible. The advantage to our back basting is that we can keep those basting threads in while we turn under our seam allowance. And it will then tell us if we are in the correct position or not. Let's do another little section. When we get up to the point where we no longer have any clip stitches, we stop and we clip another 2 or 3 stitches. Every other one, leave a stitch, clip, leave a stitch, clip, leave a stitch, clip. Very, very gently. And this is why I like a cuticle stick. It is very gentle and easy to use. Very gently lift those stitches out of the background. Okay? Then turn them under. Use the stick for that also. Look at it. Remember what I said. Applique is made, beautiful applique, is made before the stitches go in. It is at this point that beautiful applique. Here's our finished product. Beautiful hearts with beautiful smooth edges in exactly the correct positions. For me, quick prep applique can't be beat. Is it perfect in every situation? No. There are times that I would not use it. One of those times is that I have received a kit either as a BOM or as an opportunity quilt, and have been given a very limited supply of fabric. It's very difficult to place and know that you aren't wasting fabric, that you're going to be able to get all of your patches out of that small scrap of fabric. So in those situations, I will use some other method. Also, it is not really a good method for fussy cutting patches. If you're wanting to do that, you really need to use a window template. But for most other situations, I have found Quick Prep Applique to be a lifesaver, fast, easy, and accurate. If you would like to learn more about this method, please join my Facebook group. It is called Apple Blossom Quilts Group. Be sure you get the group in the end. After answering a question, I will approve you for my private group. Once there, go to the Files section. In the Files section, you will find lessons that teach my Quick Prep Applique. They give additional tips and tricks that I don't have time for in this video. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy your applique. Thanks for viewing this.